Am I on?
Ah, we found you. Hi, friend.
I am so dysfunctional when it comes to logging into things.
You did it perfectly.
I can catch
And
babies.
here you are. I know. They didn't teach us that. Well, how are you, my friend?
I am so good. We are just doing fantastic today. Really good.
Okay. Well, so let's start with this. Tell us who you are, where you are, how are you? Do a little
Great.
introduction.
Absolutely. I am Chemin Perez. I'm a licensed midwife, certified professional midwife, and a preceptor with NARM. And I'm in the city of Los Angeles, which I think everybody is kind of calling the, kind of bomb zone of what is happening here. It's been really, really tough to kind of keep up. I think a lot of people are operating in fear because it's kind of scary, the idea that you go to work and you can die or you can bring things home to your children or your family, and nobody seems to really know about how this is all working. I was inspired by the doctors and nurses that go to work. And I feel like maybe everybody isn't called to do that right now, to kind of work through this pandemic. And that's totally okay. Everybody has to do, what they have a piece in their heart about. This is like a time for us to hold on to our faith, whatever faith that is that people have. And, all faith is a little more fearless and there's peace that comes with faith. And so I think that, it's really a time where we just have to grab hold of that. Otherwise, fear will just get the best of us. And it's difficult because we're givers. We are the givers. We are the mamas. I've been called a mom wife by many of my mamas. And so how do we bring to the table that peace that the mamas need? We can't really fake it. It's not something you can do. And, we're seeing like between 25 and 60 moms for prenatals on Saturdays in our outdoor tent, which I'll walk through and show you guys.
Thank you.
Today we have the New York Times Magazine is outside and they're following us for the whole day. We have Channel 7 News outside. It was kind of weird, like, oh, I don't know about having, we're such a private kind of thing that we do. So that was kind of, I was a little like, oh, I don't know about this at first. But then I thought, no, people need to know. People need to know that they have options. People need to know that choice is there. And we're the only Medi-Cal providers in this area. So people need to know that, they don't have to pay for it. It is something that is their right. Thank God that it is still their right to choose where they give birth. So,
well, I'm so happy to see you. And I'm so impressed with you. I mean, since the moment I've known about you, I've been like, oh my God. So, I'm just so happy that you agreed to tell us and talk to us about what's going on. You are really pioneering a model, and it is reproducible. As the weather warms up around the country, this is reproducible. And I'm so excited to hear more. So just as an overview, you have started a drive-through maternity clinic. Am I saying that right?
That's correct.
And it is open to the public.
That's right.
And it's free.
It's free. If you have Medi-Cal, it's free.
Yeah.
So
then for clients that don't, how are you arranging payment for them?
I haven't had anybody that doesn't have Medi-Cal. I have some moms that are cash pays, but I actually think that people who have, can you go sit on the couch, please? I still have my child with me too. People who have finances are going with a home birth option. And we have a lot of home birth midwives here that are really happy to kind of facilitate that. The Medi-Cal moms all get referred to me. So would I turn somebody away? Absolutely not. I've told all the OBs in the area that if they need help, if they're too afraid to see their moms, I'm happy to do prenatal care. They can just drive through. My students are happy to serve everybody. We're doing the best we can.
So what gave you this idea? Why did you know that this was the next step for you?
I think it was a God idea. Honestly, I had a day where I was really kind of afraid. I have a daughter who's always been kind of like bronchitis kind of thing, kind of a weak immune system, and she lives with me. And I was kind of meditating one day, and I said to myself, can I really do this and risk, this is a difficult decision. And then I thought to myself, well, what are all of the guidelines right now? Oops, sorry, keep losing you because people are calling through. What kind of guidelines can I follow to make things really safe for myself and my family? And I'm called to be a midwife. Many of us will say that it's not a job, it's a calling. I mean, God knows we don't make money, make a bunch of money. We're definitely not going on vacation, and I don't know, it's kind of hard to get some sleep. So it's really a job that is a selfless, it has to be a calling. And I sat down and I really just said, well, what can we do? What kind of wisdom can we use? If there was a one thought that I have seen, and it's kind of going back and forth now, is that the virus can live in a room, for 3 hours. And so when you go to your prenatal visits and they're indoors, that's kind of a big risk to take. And it's a big risk for the provider. It's a big risk for my students. So I thought, well, why don't we just take it outside? I mean, this is California. It's always beautiful here, even when it's supposedly like we're complaining because it's 70 degrees. I mean, I'm wearing a Patagonia sweater outside right now, and it's like 74, right? Because that's how, So we did, I put a water fountain outside, and we just we're just doing it. I'm like, let's set up the tent. Each station has gloves. We switch in between. We provide masks for my daughter made a little smile on mine.
I love it.
You can see that I'm smiling, and we are in a cul-de-sac. Nobody's here on Saturday, so it makes sense that that could happen. I think you could actually see if can I turn this around?
Yeah, you should have that little flippy sign on the bottom of your screen.
See, it's because I'm so terrible. There is. I don't see it. Is there one that flips it around?
It's at the top.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. You got it.
You can see here that all the moms we have all the moms waiting. And then when the moms pull up, there's a midwife that takes their temperature. So this is kind of like the drive-up check-in station. And then we have a sign here that asks the basic, like, have you traveled in the last 14 days? Or have you been sick recently? Any body aches, fevers? Are you okay with, have you answered yes to any of this? Are you okay to be filmed if somebody wants to take a picture of you? And once that happens, they just drive, they drive through here till it's their turn. Here's another one of the midwives, and they check in right here. And then we have our lab station, so the mamas get drawn right here.
Awesome.
And then over here is our second station. It's just a beautiful sky in the background. And then we've got this one right here with a beautiful Jillian, who's having a little boy. She's all excited about sharing with everybody, and our nutritionist that we work with. And then we have actually, so that we don't screw up our labs, because we kind of did that last week, we just brought the spinner and the fridge out here. Whoops, watch out, daughter. This is the inside of the birthing center. We're actually changing this. No one's allowed in here except staff right now. But we're actually changing this into a bedroom. We're gonna have to take all these footprints off. This is actually our prenatal room, and we have changed it into a bedroom. Just in case, because we have 18 moms due right now, and they're still coming. We call this womb 1. This is one of our birthing suites. Beautiful. It's ready for somebody. We've got a couple of different rooms in here, but everything that we're doing is just in the line of changing and trying to create, we call them wombs. So this is womb 2. And so, the other thing we've done is we do not wear scrubs. We don't do that in the practice, but I've changed that idea now. And now we are now implementing. I brought these all in today that I ordered for staff so they could try them on and see. And the reason is I've ordered another tent. And so what we're going to do for births, I've ordered booties and tents. And when staff comes in, they're actually going to go into the tent. They're going to remove all their clothing. They're going to put it in a bag. They're going to take, we have rapid COVID tests. They're not approved by the FDA, but they're making everybody feel really safe. A negative could still be positive, but a positive is positive. I've already worked with a local hospital to let them know what we're doing. They're very thankful we're doing it. They've set the risk. Management department of every hospital must have a transfer care plan legally from out of hospital to hospital, in hospital. So it's important that we use that, and we go and we talk to them. We talk to EMS. I went and I met with the chief about how we're handling our transfers and what is best for them. And then anyway, they'll get here, they'll go into the tent, they'll leave their clothes in a bag out there, and they'll put our clothes on. And then of course, after the birth, same thing, strip, put their own on. I take everything home, wash it in hot water, and bring it back. And I mean, right now, that's just, you know, the measure that we're going to take. And we're still doing water birth. A lot of the midwives here have said, no, I can't.
Well, you know, I just did a talk with Barbara Harper. Yeah, no, I just did a talk with Barbara Harper yesterday, and she emphatically agrees that water birth is still safe.
Can't take it away.
So I love that you're doing that. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Well, so how long has this been in operation so far?
2 weeks.
And do you know your numbers? How many prenatals have you done in these two Saturdays?
2 Saturdays. I think we did about almost 50 last Saturday. We'll do at least 30 today. I filled 2 LabQuest boxes, a LabCorp box, and a Sun something box with labs that needed to be done.
And how many staff do you have right now working the tent?
It's been really difficult, actually. Not every midwife agrees with my model. Actually, a lot of midwives don't agree with my model, but a lot of the midwives, a friend of mine has followed my model, and she is now a Medi-Cal provider. So a lot of the midwives in this area don't take, I'm the only one, really. And there's a lot of reasons behind that. But they're not sharing staff. So it's been really hard. I have 5 amazing students, and I have 1 other midwife that I'm working with. My students are all sold out on the idea that we are here till the end, that this is a calling, that we're willing to risk our lives, just like, and that sounds very dramatic, but it's really what we've come to. And we're willing to take that risk because this is what we're supposed to do. I know for sure this is what God's called me to do. And I'm willing to take that risk, and my family is okay with it. They all, you know, I sat down and I talked to my husband and I talked to my kids, and I'm like, this is when they were like, Mom, we know that that's what you have to do. So
that's so amazing.
And the nutritionist. I also have the nutritionist.
Yeah, because that's helping everyone stay healthy, probably. Yeah.
Well, I have a big MTHFR protocol here for every mom. Everybody's tested. So the nutritionist works with us on choline and, you know, different ways, so that our deliveries will go quicker and we won't have any hemorrhages.
Well, that's a whole nother webinar we could do, isn't it? My gosh, you are so knowledgeable and so well researched. It's really exciting. So today you expect to see 30 pregnant women. How many of them were your clients before this started?
Probably, if you mean before COVID?
Yeah.
Probably 50%. I screen 50 to 20 women a day who call. I spend several hours just calling people back. The protocol I have, and I really recommend to midwives, is I did a virtual tour of the birthing center on my Facebook page, and I also did a childbirth ed class on my Facebook page. And basically what I'm doing is I'm telling moms when they call that the first thing that they need to do is they need to watch that. Once they've done that and they've looked at my Yelp reviews, because you can learn a lot about me from the...
There's 12 people waiting, and Gail has nobody. So what do you want me to do?
What do you mean she has nobody?
Like, she's not helping no one. She's just standing there.
Gail is only an assistant. She's not allowed to help anyone. She's charting.
Do you want me to take someone and do vitals? Or?
Ask Renee, because I told her to stay in charge of everything until I come out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm like...
I know. We had 20 people waiting last week, so they know last week was the same thing.
Okay. I'm just, because there's literally no parking. So.
Totally okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, I'll go back.
The drive-through is, we need another tent and we need more help.
You're so exceptional. My God, I just wanted to stand in awe of you for a second.
With it. I mean, they get it.
I know, but it's more than that. You know? It's you, the leadership that you represent. This whole experience is going to shake all of our lives. Nothing will ever be the same after this experience. And I certainly hope that we have more leaders like you. So thank you for demonstrating it to the world.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know what to say.
I know
It's so
that it
weird,
comes
right? It's so weird
naturally
because like
to you.
even the news today, like the news wants to come and they want to do all this, and I'm like, really? Like,
Yes,
like we're going
really.
to work. Like all we're doing is our job, right? All
I
of us.
know.
We're just
I know.
going to work, you know. I
I
just
know.
wanted to
But
really.
the way that you're going to work and the way that you are showing up is what's unique, and that's what needs to be celebrated. So I just one more thank you for what you do.
Absolutely. I did want to just throw out there to all the midwives, virtual tours that discuss all of the selling points, you know, why we do what we do, what the difference is, whatever you need to throw in about the pandemic, and then a birthing class, if they do a birthing class online so that the clients can see your style and know what to expect. And if they're sold on all of that and it's a good fit, then they call you. So I tell all of them, do that. That's the first thing, because all their questions are going to be answered. You know, watch my tour on my Facebook page. It's going to be answered. Then I tell them they call me back, and if they decide that they are interested in becoming into care, I tell them, I send them an electronic chart. I have client care. I tell them, fill it out, upload your insurance information, sign the medical release. And the next step is I get a copy of their medical records. I have not accepted them into care yet. This is just me reviewing if they are a candidate. Then I do it after I get their records and I've looked at everything that and I'm telling them, be very thorough. Once they've done those two things, then I will have a FaceTime conversation with them, and then we'll determine if they are, a candidate or not. Okay. I told her that you were in charge and for you to make all the decisions. You make the decisions. Yeah. Totally. You're in charge. My senior student, she's in charge. She's in charge as a license midwife because she knows how we roll, you know?
I love it. Yes. Delegation. Turn it over. I love it.
It's great. Because
so you're doing this
too. The students need to be in charge.
Well, and what better time than the present to learn how to do the kind of leadership process you're doing? Absolutely. Yeah. So you do this whole, first of all would be a personal risk out. So the person gets oriented to you and the location and what you're doing, and they could risk themselves out. Then you get their records, and then you get the opportunity to risk them out. And if that is still looks like a healthy, low risk person, then you're going to actually schedule with them.
Correct.
Okay. And when you schedule with them,
you can't spend time with everybody who's afraid right now. It's not our job to spend time with everyone who's afraid. We need to reserve ourselves for the people who are supposed to be with us, because the other ones, it's just not going to work. We have to find out. We want to save the world, but we can't save the world. We've got to just take the ones that are truly candidates for what we do.
Okay. So how do you process that first initial appointment? What's the model look like for you?
When they come in, or you mean on the phone? You mean the telehealth one, or the one when they come here?
That's what I'm asking you. Like, walk me through the process. So you've gotten their records and you're like, okay, this person's low risk. Okay, their insurance qualifies them. Okay, I'm willing to meet this client. What happens next?
Then we talk on the phone, and I set up a time for them to come in. There's no way that their OB has given them the labs that are really going to help them. So at that point, they come in because we've already done history on the phone. So then they come in, and usually that's labs.
Okay.
And then it's just the basic, vitals, checking on the baby. I ask in the consents that I send them, I have information on ultrasound and the risks, like unraveling baby's DNA and all that kind of stuff. And so I ask them, do you want me to use Doppler? Do you want me to use a fetoscope? Really trying to give them all the power to make decisions. And I tell them, like, we're just getting to know each other, but I hope that I can get into a relationship of trust with you, because it's like you're going to deliver in 4 or 5 weeks. So we're going to do the best we can. Please stay open. It's so important to not sit above the client. It's so important to not look like a doctor. I tell all my staff that, like, it's really difficult. I'm in Los Angeles. I have a very diverse population. Very diverse. It's difficult with students. Some of them come from environments that they can't even possibly imagine what it's like to get into the heart of these people, but we need to be people. We need to be people. We need to love people where they're at, and we need to shut up sometimes. And that's what I tell the students, like, just shut up. I have some people who are really afraid of white people. They don't feel comfortable around white people. And I have white students. So I say to the students, like, you are the white person the right white person who's going to teach this person that what you represent is an awesome, loving person that accepts them, and that color is not where hate comes from, right? Mm-hmm. I had a Muslim and an Orthodox Jew in the waiting room at the same time waiting, because neither of them could go in and see their wives birthing. I think that, we are the ones who are giving the opportunity for people to love each other. I have, women of color who hate Mexicans, and then they come in here and their midwife is Mexican. I've heard them say, well, I really wanted a black midwife, but you know what? I'd rather have a Mexican than a white midwife. Like, you hear these crazy things and you're just like, wow. Like, you want to just go, what, but you can't, because that's not what a midwife is. We have to say, wow, I hope that you can find trust in me and see beyond color. And who knows, maybe you'll find more Mexicans you like, like when
wow.
that they're so hurt. This is such an important time for us to love people and help them feel trusted. And I say that to my students. Like, I had one that was much, much older, and she looked white, but she's actually Puerto Rican. And so when women would come in to talk to her, and she was also a teacher. She taught physiology and anatomy before this, and she was like a medical tech and all this other stuff. So she really had this kind of powerful sense about her, which makes some people feel safe, but other people, they shut up and they're like, whatever you say, And I said, look, you know what your challenge is? Your challenge is coming back down. Come down. Talk to someone where they're at, love them where they're at, and ask them to make the decision. You need to see in yourself that if you want to go serve people like you, privileged, whatever, educated, then this isn't the right practice. But if you want to serve everybody, because everybody needs help, then we all have to adjust, and we have to drop we need to be prideless people, and we need to love these women where they're coming from. And I think that is the heart. I think that is the heart of the midwife. The heart of the midwife is to love everybody where they're at. That's why we don't charge everybody. That's why we don't, sleep. That's why our kids are always sitting, in the background going, hey mom, when you done,
Yeah, and also what you've been alluding to, which I fully agree, is the incredible skill of getting yourself out of the way. I think that is uniquely midwifery. If we're doing it well, we're actually out of the way. I used to say all the time, my ultimate goal is that you, on the whole other side of this, your story will be something along the lines of, oh yeah, we had a midwife. What was her name? I can't really remember. Because it was so entirely focused on their process and their relationship with their partner, their families, and their baby, that actually, if nothing happens that needs any medical intervention, the midwife shrinks into the background. It is not actually centered.
I know I have not done my job if someone says they couldn't have done it without me. Then I know I haven't done my job. I feel terrible. Right. The other thing that is a new thing that I learned was I had my first loss last week. You did. And it was a cord accident. It just happened. And one of the Christian midwives who mentors me said, because I was like, I just don't understand. It just didn't make any sense. And I'm so busy right now. And how do you just walk back outside? It was during our thing last week. And I was like, how do you just walk back outside? How do you love that? And this is someone I've had since, the beginning of the pregnancy, which wouldn't make a difference if I just met him, but what do you do? And the midwife said to me, and I said, you kind of go why would God do this or whatever? And the midwife said, Chemin, we're not intended necessarily to understand everything. It's not we want to, because we struggle with control, just like our clients do. We want to be in control of everything. And baby, and you hear that, oh, baby's dying, this happens, but you're like, no, not under my watch. And then you're like, oh, that's prideful. Of course, everybody's going to lose babies because that's what happens. And you check yourself, is there anything else I could have done? And then you do that, okay, is there anything? And you implement that. But the truth is, we have to, this pandemic, we don't have time to sit there and cry. We got to go do our meditating and let it go. But guess what? The next person who needs us is waiting right there, right now. And we need to wash it off and move on and know that maybe I was the midwife that needed to be there for this. Maybe if this had been in the hospital or with someone else, maybe that it wouldn't have, been what it was, because they had someone who loves them and that they trust, and you know what I mean? So I think that's the thing we need to remember going into this, or being part of this right now, is that we're not going to be perfect, and things aren't going to be perfect, and we don't need to know everything. Just like we tell our moms, you're in the middle of a contraction. This pandemic is a contraction, and there is going to be a birth in the end. And we just need to be grateful and go to work.
Yeah, I love that. I think one of the reasons we have such an amplified fear response is because we're talking about mortality. And we have we have just inoculated the entire society against any mortality. Like we have this false sense of immortality.
That's
to
right.
such an extent that we've almost got, I know, we've almost got to this like 0% tolerance for fetal demise, you know, like
it's true.
Even if they do die in the hospital, there's no newspaper article, there's nobody investigating it. It's like, shh.
Yeah.
Or the actual woman's body or the cord is blamed, or like there's some just like displacement of this is reality. So what's happening in a lot of ways as people kind of face their own mortality is this idea of like, oh my God, I'm not safe. And it's always been that way, but now people are seeing it. Thank you so much for your truth and your transparency and letting us see your heart and what's going through for you. It's just such a gift. I really can't thank you enough.
I'm glad I can be useful.
Oh my goodness.
Speaking of useful, I think I have to get back out and
I know you do.
Crack
Before
the
we
whip.
close,
No.
I
Crack
know.
the whip on my students. No.
Before we close, do you have any advice for midwives around the country that might want to replicate this model and do an outdoor prenatal clinic like you have?
Yes. Get people around you that are like-minded and willing to help you. Take on what you can handle. First off, draw very close to your faith. Very, very remember where you come from and remember where you're going. And make sure you take that time to meditate every day and just be thankful for today, be in today, and be ready for tomorrow.
Amen. I'm so grateful for you. I just am so, so grateful. Please take good care of yourself.
Thank you. I will.
Yeah, you can't pour from an empty cup, and I see you taking good care of yourself in lots of ways, and I just want to affirm you so much. I hope we stay in touch. If anything changes, will you let me know? And we'll have another one?
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks,
Bless
Chemin.
all of the midwives today.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.